Okay, so this is our focus for the webinar today, is using MathShed for engaging and effective Year 6 SATs preparation.
Okay, so I'll take over if that's okay. So I put together the data from all of the past papers to give some breakdowns, figure out what needs to be done to meet national standard for age-related expectations in the Key Stage 2 SATs. So if we look at it based on year group content, it's very apparent to see there that if you cover the year 3 to 5 curriculum very well and make sure that children have a solid base in that, even if they're perhaps not picking up the year 6 curriculum as well as you would like them to, that it might be taking them some more time to get to grips with that. As long as you make sure that you've really covered those 3 younger year groups of Key Stage 2 really well, you're really in a good place to help them get to age-related expectations from them scoring points just on the year 3, 4 and 5 content in the papers for the maths SAT.
Okay.
Next slide. Similarly, really, the way to achieve the national standard for the children is for them to get a really good score on paper 1 to begin with, because you need about between 56 and 60 marks to meet the national standard based on the 4 years that the SATs has been running uninterrupted prior to COVID. So if you score really highly on paper 1 itself, you're really most of the way there to meeting the national standard. The other part of it, of course, is that the majority of reasoning and problem solving at primary level is applied fluency. So applying those arithmetic skills. So the thing is, if you focus primarily on arithmetic fluency, obviously with conceptualization, having children know what it means to add, subtract, multiply and divide, not just having them be column addition and subtraction calculators, but then to conceptualize it, it really does form the foundation and the keystone in them achieving SAT success, because it's paper 1, get a good score on that, and then quite a lot of the marks in paper 2 and 3 are applied fluency too. So that's what that chart shows there. Similarly, here we can see that the blue and the red parts of the bars there that get you towards, actually I need to correct myself here. So it's the blue part of the bar and the yellow part of the bar. That's, no, blue and green, sorry. So blue for operations and then green for number and place value. That's sort of like your number work, your known facts about number, place value, and then also the 4 operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. If children have those nailed down really well, again, they're pretty much there in achieving the national standard. Now, the caveat here is that, for example, algebra, you want children to be able to use algebraic thinking, things like working backwards, applying formula that might come up in other aspects of the curriculum, particularly for operations, mixed operation type questions. That certainly helps. And like statistics, where children might have to use a table or a chart to do some of that work with addition and subtraction, or even sorting shapes, for example. So those smaller mark areas of the curriculum do still carry weight and importance, but you can see quite clearly that number, place value, and operations are the bulk of the marks that you really need to get in order for the children to meet the national standard and the age-related expectations in the Year 6 SATs paper. So, based on what we've seen in terms of year group, the fact that arithmetic is so important, and that these areas in terms of operations, number and place value are so important in terms of getting up to that pass mark line, it's quite immediately obvious once you've dug into that data where we might prioritize lessons. So here, you know, I've started off suggesting problem solving using addition and subtraction, because that will get children using a mix of those operational skills that they need. Number and place value up to 10 million. So they'll do some of the number work, the place value work earlier than up to 10 million, which perhaps some of the marks would be, given that a lot of the marks are from year 3, 4, and 5. But even so, getting them up to that year 6 level so that they've got a really solid core in number and operations to score well. And then again, if you use something like money, there you're getting a lot of cross area learning there. You get your decimals, addition and subtraction, and some place value given, you know, we're looking at that's a unit of 10 pence, whether it's 75p or what have you. The 7 there is a 10th value and the 5 is a 100th value. So that also offers many opportunities for learning and revisiting concepts and known facts that will be helpful for the children. And then, of course, I think we all are all very aware that the cornerstone for all learning really in maths at primary level is the times tables, and of course the number ones too. And MathShed do also provide times tables, games, and other resources and number bonds in our fluency game, which we might see later. But I think now Karith is going to take over and show you one of our lessons here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have are what we call lessons are a mixture of video clips, and I'll click on one of these in a moment, and they're sort of short explainer videos. Some have got myself in, some have got my colleague Emma in, and activities to go with that. So what you can do, and the idea here is you can use this as consolidation, you can use these as interventions if you'd like to, or home learning, and they're just kind of a lesson that will run itself. It's set like a playlist like this, so that the pupil will be able to get all of the information that a teacher would give in a lesson, such as success criteria, explainer videos, and demonstrations before then undertaking and practicing that skill themselves. So what I thought is if I click on number and place value, because it's free. So if you were to take out a free trial with us, say this evening, and you want to have a click around, you'll also be able to access this one. So I click on here. Okay, so this is what it will look like. And as we saw in that picture, it's sort of set out like a playlist here. But if I click start, the pupil, now I did click on this earlier to check that the links and everything were working. The pupil will only be able to do one level at a time. So you can see down here that these are blurred out as I haven't finished up here. But what I'll do is I'll start on the introduction. So what it will do is it will share the success criteria. It will then come up with a video.
Today we are going to learn to represent numbers up to 10 million. For this data, which one doesn't belong here? We've got 4 different representations.
So it's just a quick starter activity. And then if I click next, I've finished that level 1 activity. And then it will go on to activity 1, and it will be an explainer video about the following activity.
In numerals beneath its place chart value. Let's have a go. So here we've got thousands, tens of thousands. So that's,
and it will explain that before then the child can attempt the activity. So then it will go on to questions to do with what has been explained in that video. So if I click start game, you can get them to read it out if
Write
needed.
the number represented by the counters in the place value chart. Enter your answer below.
And they can do that here. And so on. I just skip through a few. You can see that that is then they're practicing what was explained in the video. So those are our lessons. And then once that's completed, then the next activity will open up and so on. So it's a really good way to sort of set the pupil, you know, the exact targeted learning and the objective that you've set them, and that is what they will be practicing if we assign them this lesson. Right, I'll just whiz back to our PowerPoint. There we go.
Okay, so again, this is a resource that we provide because it's something that I found really helpful. So part of my journey was before moving into the world of EdTech, I was a year 6 teacher at a school in Tower Hamlets. So we were requires improvement. Our SAT scores were pretty bad. And then myself and my colleague came to the school, and the year later, 96% of our pupils, and you know, we're talking about school, free school meals, SEN, EAL, all the sorts of demographics that you'd expect in Tower Hamlets. So this is something that we implemented in our classes, and it was dynamite. It really helped the kids practice those skills and become confident and fluent. So it's one of the things that we wanted to provide as Math Shed. So we have quick maths, and it's a daily 10 questions in year 6, and these are all derived from past SATs papers, so that you know that kids are going to get asked questions that are likely to appear on the papers because they're all based on past papers. And also the other benefits doing it like this is that you get some of that retrieval practice because kids are going to end up doing similar questions week in, week out, and really get up to speed with the fluency that they need to do well on paper 1 and paper 2 and paper 3 even.
All right, so I'll click on an example of these as well so we can have a look. And again, anything that's got this green free, if you take out a free trial, and our trials end if it's 30 days for a school or teacher account or 2 weeks for a parent, they won't carry on or take any money, they'll end automatically. So it really is worth it if you'd like to take out a free trial and have a look at these. So download this and then we can have a look. And you'll also be pleased to know that they have the answers too, which I always think is good. So we have these for each term as well. So you will always have different ones to use. And they sort of start off a bit easier at the beginning of the week and obviously in term 1, as you'd expect, and then slowly get harder throughout. So you can see there's quite a range of different functions used here. And we also have these available for every year group as well. So if you have got children in your class that need consolidation of other year groups, if that's appropriate, we do have those.
So again, this was our experience in our classroom back in Bethnal Green, that we would have this up on the board. So when the kids came in the morning, it was a really good settler activity, and it's just something to really turn part of that day that can be mayhem into something really beneficial. So yeah, whether it's in the morning, after break, after lunchtime, I really would recommend first thing in the morning though, because there are all these sort of studies that show that children and everyone in general really, you do the best sort of analytical and mathematical thinking in the morning. So yeah, that's why we did it first thing in the morning, and you build it into your day and it becomes second nature. The kids settle down to it. You don't really have to think about it, especially if you're using something like quick maths, that it's all there ready for you, ready prepared.
Definitely. And when I remember I was teaching Key Stage 1, I used to do this as well, similarly in Key Stage 1 at the beginning, and it definitely has such an impact.
Okay, so yeah, this is another feature that we provide. So we have we've taken the past papers and we've created sort of emulators of those and made them into our self-marking digital quizzes. So that means that you could set these as homework, or you could do them as some form of assessment, seeing how children are improving across the year or across a term or a half term, however you're using them. So yeah, it's just another sort of side benefit to a MathShed subscription, that you have all of these paper one resources that go alongside your quick maths. And the benefit to these are that all of the results get logged, and you can click into pupils and see what questions they've answered correctly and incorrectly. And it also feeds into our curriculum competency reporting dashboard, which is a newer feature that we have. Yeah, so
yeah, we'll show you that at the end. All right, so I'll have a quick look on here, and you can see our version on MathShed, and then SATS paper on the right, and you can see how our questions are modelled on the SATS questions. Oh, okay, so if I play this quiz, we can have a look at what it looks like. So I'll just quickly click through them so you can just see different types of questions that are in there. So there's quite a few different ones, and you can see that we've got different layouts of questions as they would be in SATs, as well as fractions, and so on. So you also might have seen at the beginning when I clicked into the quiz, you can also generate this as a worksheet should your pupils not have devices, or they need a paper copy for any reason as well.
Okay. So I think I referred to this earlier, that alongside our lessons, question sets, quick maths, our whole class teaching lesson sites, 100% curriculum coverage, lesson slide scheme, end of block, end of term assessments, we also have the core MathShed game, which is an arithmetic fluency game. And in fact, if you wanted to try it out and you have an iPhone or an iPad, our iOS app is free on the Apple App Store at the moment. So you could download this and have a try. There are elements of it that are free, like the multiplication table check for year 4, that is free on our website. And also you obviously get unfettered access to it if you have a free trial on our web app, which can be used on Android devices. So yeah, I think Karis is going to perhaps show some of the arithmetic fluency games.
I'll show you some of the fluency games. And this is also, if you have a free trial, this is how you can also access it. So if you log into EdShed, should you have registered your email, if you click any of these yellow play game buttons, that will take you to a game screen, which is what the pupils see when they log in. And this is how we can have a look at the different fluency games. Now, also, you can assign the pupils specific skills. So if I click into MathShed now, I can see everything. But if you as the teacher assign them specific quizzes and lessons and specific fluency skills, they won't necessarily see all of this. They'll just see what you've set them if you would like them to. So it depends what's suitable for your pupils, really, how much access you want them with clicking around, because I know then the temptation is there to be able to go and play the easy quizzes. But these are the fluency skills on the left. So you have got all your basics like number bonds and times tables. And if you click on them, you've got loads of different options, whether you wanted the mixed, single, related and decimals. And obviously it's not relevant for year 6, but we've also got our year 4 times table simulator as well. And then adding and subtracting, and you can then choose how advanced you want to go with that. And again, whether you want mixed, I'll click on that one just so that we can have a look. Then the pupil chooses themselves which level they would like. Now, you can't limit this in any way. We find this really important for pupils, for them to build their confidence. So easy and medium will give them options. So it will give them multiple choice answers, just like that. Whereas hard, they'll have to type in the number. So if I just click through, you can see it's all exactly the same. And at the top, there is a timer, And I know for some pupils, this might not be suitable, but if this time it does end and comes to the end, it doesn't skip or go on to the next question. So if they do need to have some paper next to them to help with their workings, they can, and they're not under. So if they just ignore that, they can still continue to do their workings and go on to the next question and work at their own pace. So it's suitable for lots of different learners as well. If I just click down and click on more so you can see the other things there. We've also got one on negative numbers as well. I'll just show you a times table one because I know that's always popular as well. If I go to hard, same again. And then this is what the hard level will look like on each one. They just type in the lessons. They can do that on the keyboard as well. They don't have to do it using the calculator. Now, I know we also mentioned on here about if there are particular questions that children struggle with, you can set them the corresponding lesson or question set on MathShed. What I think I'll do is I'll wait to the end and I'll show you how to do that should you take out a free trial and want to have a really good go and test this out with your class. So I'll show you that at the end and how to do that and where everything's located.
Okay, so it's not only paper one that we've provided these question sets that can be either produced as PDFs or set as these online self-marking quizzes. You can, so we have them for paper 2 and paper 3, and we've done these sort of emulator papers for the 2016 sample, 2016 real, 2017, 2018 and 2019 papers. So there's lots there so that you don't have to use the real papers, but children are getting a similar experience in their practice. And fortunately, I don't think too many tutors have discovered these yet. So you don't have to worry about that thing where you try and do a past paper and they go, oh, my tutor's already done this one with me. Maybe it was only me that used to get that.
All right, I'll click on here as well so we can have a look at these. Okay, so here we have got that generate worksheet button should you need to, but I'll just play the quiz now so you can have a look. Okay. So again, you can get them to read out the question if you would like to. So we've got lots of different types of questions, whether it's ordering and they can move them around. And then different pictorial representations. I'm just clicking through these. Yeah, same again, lots of multiple choice if needed. Things that and so on. So you can see there's lots of different question styles and things here where they'd have more than one answer. So it does vary it quite a bit. And you can see some of the ones below as well for shape and symmetry.
Okay, so again, if you set these, or whether that's on paper or online, you can see how the children perform. And again, you could look for where those gaps are and see, okay, they're not doing so well on these questions, ordering fractions, and then you could set them the ordering fractions lesson on MathShed using our EdShed hub. But again, just here, put it here for reference. If you do find that children are showing a lot of gaps, then again, you'd probably want to refer back to this or a similar prioritization of areas that tend to have a lot of points in or marks in the paper and prioritize that way. But again, with our system, you do have that option of doing personalization. So every child has their own list of lessons that you want them to complete throughout the run up to the SATs.
Okay, now I know we've talked about the competence grid, so I'll show that, and I'll also show where different things are located on our system should you wish to take out a free trial or if you've already got a subscription but you wanted to know how to use it a bit better, I'll show you those, and then we'll have a look at our questions as well. Okay, so if I exit this game screen here. So any resources, so teaching PowerPoints will be located here. So this is my test account, so I do have access to all of our different sheds. So stages are the same as year groups. So if I click on stage 6, and then let's go with autumn term, and you can see that it goes in blocks. So it follows the same as the White Rose curriculum. And you can see here quick maths. So this is all the quick math slides for autumn term. And then obviously there's the same for spring and summer term as well. If I click inside block 1 and inside a lesson, you can see for each of the lessons, we've got what we call lessons, which were the mixture of video clips and questions, which we played at the beginning. We've also got question sets, which are the quizzes, which go with each lesson. And then we've got a teaching PowerPoint if you want to use this in class to teach the lesson. So I'll just download a quick one of our teaching slides so you can have a very quick look at what those look like. And you can edit these as needed as well. So they all come in the same format. You've got the success criteria, you've got a starter, you've got something called a talking time, which is just kind of the teacher demonstrating the skill and discussing it with the children, if this is your whole class input. And then we've also got activities. So you can print these off if you wanted to for the children to do independently, or maybe you just have them on the board for the children to do in their books or on whiteboards. And then at the end, so you've still got talking time, lots of different activities. There's roughly about 4 or 5 activities, I think, in each one, depending. And then at the end, we'll always have some sort of plenary, which we call an evaluation, whether it's a, can you prove this is right or wrong? Can you spot the mistake? All of those sorts of things that they can use the learning from the lesson to demonstrate. So those are our teaching PowerPoints. Those are all in the resources. Now we also, I know Alex mentioned, we have got assessments as well. So if I just go back, so I'll go back to block 1, and if I scroll down here, so these are all the lessons in block 1, here is my end of block assessment. And this is in the form of a quiz. So again, you can download and generate it as a worksheet if you wanted to, or you can set it as a quiz for the pupils to access on their login. And it will look the same as the other quizzes that we've done today. They're all in a very similar format. And we also have end of term assessments as well. So if I go back to the autumn term, I've got all my blocks here. And at the bottom here is the end of term assessment for this block, for this term even. So those are the resources. Then we spoke about assigning work for pupils. So we call them assignments in EdShed. So any work that you set for pupils will appear here. And I've done a couple of demo ones here. Now I did a quiz I set it for a pupil. Now this is just a test account. I just set a random year 2 one, but I just wanted you to be able to see some of the different data that's generated. So here I can see the pupils that have done it, how many games they've played, how many times they've done the quiz, the percentage they got correct, and their status will change. So their assignment status will change depending on their points. So it's just another motivational tool. The highest status you can get is Royal B. And if you've got any that are particularly low here and you want to check exactly what they answered and what their areas of weaknesses might be, if I click into the view pupil, here's Scary Spice here. And if I go on quiz data, I can then see what her answers were. I can see all the quizzes that she played, her history here. I can see the answers that she put to the questions below. So I can then see if there were really alarming scores. I can then go in a little bit more and delve down and see what's going on here. Assignments are really easy to set. I won't set each one. I'll just quickly click create and show you how to do it. So if you click single assignment and give it a title, and then you set when you want it to appear for the children and when you want it to end. And then as I explained before, because this is my test account, I've got access to all the different things. With MathShed, you will have QuizShed, the MathShed lessons, the quizzes, and fluency. So fluency, these are all of these key skills that we were talking about. So you choose your game or whatever it is from here. If it is a quiz, this also includes the assessments as well. So I'm in autumn, you can click there for the end of term autumn assessment and set that for the pupils. I could go into place value and set that end of block assessment, or I can just select a lesson and choose the quiz for that lesson. So those are the quizzes, and then lessons are the same again. Those are the ones with the video clips. So those will be in exactly the same order, the exact same place, and will look the same. You just simply click select, and that's how you will create them. So if I just click, if I do that lesson, then the next thing you would need to do is you've got this bit, and this is important depending on your class. What I would recommend, but it obviously depends on your class and what they're like, is if you click limit options, this will mean the pupils will only see the work that you have set. They won't be able to see, as I showed before, all of the different stages. You can then choose if you want the screen to kind of open up and give them the other options if they have played what you have set, say, 3 times, or until they have scored the highest assignment status, which is the Royal B. So if they've literally got everything right, they can't get any better, then the screen will open up. But if you don't want that, just click limit options, and then it will be blank for no limit. Click save, and then you select your pupils. So in the setting up of this, you can create groups, so that will make setting work quite a bit easier. And you can also add other teachers to the assignment. So if you're a job share or you've got a teaching assistant, you'd like them to be able to see this information as well, you can add them here too. And that's where they will be. Now our competency grid, which is a really new feature, which we have got. If you click in assessment, and then if we go onto one of the groups, this will then show different curriculum areas. Now I know we're looking at maths today. So if I click in maths. Now this is my test account, so I was just clicking and playing some year 2 stuff earlier. You can then see all of the different blocks within year 2. If I click on a specific area, it's then got all of the different objectives within that area, and you can see there are some numbers sort of starting to form here of different colours. Now the way this number is generated, if I hover over it, you can see a little bit more. It's based on the last 5 games that I have played. All of our maths quizzes are tagged with an objective. So depending on what they've played, that will then feed into this grid in some way. Now we kind of base it on the most recent 5 games because we want to make sure it's consistent and it's not just sort of a one-off score, and that they are continuing to show that they are competent in an area, which is why we call it a competency score. And that's how, even though you can see they've got quite high scores, there's only the number 36 there because it's been averaged out in the last 5 games and they've only played it twice. But you can see they've got quite a high accuracy, and these colours will change the higher they go. And you can see we've also got a bar there. And then this will feed into the overall competency of this whole block, which would be all of these objectives together. So it's just a really nice way, if you're using all of the quizzes quite a lot and really consistently, and the pupils are always playing these, maybe you set them as homework every week, then it's just a really nice way to see a bit of data and just identify any patterns or things you need to go over in class again. Now, what I'll do is I'll just go back and I'll have a look at some of the questions that we've got. Let's see if I go on the chat.
Well, I mean, I think I've done quite a good job of answering. If anyone has any further questions. Yeah, I was dipping in and out of the chat.
Oh, so, amazing.
Yeah. Has anyone any questions they would like to ask either me or Karis about the SATs or MathShed or anything else?
Well, if anything does come, we have got a support email, which is support@edshed.com. So if you do have any questions regarding subscriptions. Now we have got one here, Alex, about this, where the SATs papers are, rather than just where the quizzes are. And that is because they are in a different place. So I will show you that now.
Yeah, I tend to find them in QuizShed. I don't know if you do the same.
The way I have found them before is you can also search them when you're setting an assignment. So we have QuizShed, which is just a quiz making tool that we make our quizzes in, and you can as well, it's free. The way I find them is if you go to assignments and then click as if you're about to make one. I'll just skip through these bits. If you go to QuizShed there, and then if you search, so if you search Key Stage 2 SATs, then down here, if I just scroll down, you can see all the different Key Stage 2 papers we've got. They've got a quiz code, which is identifiable. If you want to look at these before you set them, you can, as Alex said, view them in QuizShed. So if you go to, just click on QuizShed here and just gone to Australia, and if we just search Key Stage 2 SATs in here, there we go, we can see loads of them that have come up there, and you can click view quiz and play them as I did, and you can type in the browse box whether it's reasoning, whatever it is that you're after. So that's how you do that. Let's see if there's any others.
And then you can obviously click into those and assign them as well, right?
Yeah, yes.
Because people are asking how to assign. Yeah. Okay,
yes. So you could search them as I did, but also here we've got the button that says assign quiz, and that will then take you to the assignment bit. So that's another shortcut. So that's those.
I hope that answers Helen's question there.
That was a good question, because we didn't show you where those were. Brilliant. Thanks so much for watching. I hope it was helpful. As I said, we'll get the recording out tomorrow morning, and feel free to forward that to any other members of staff that might find it informative. There'll be a passcode that I'll include in the email that you'll need to put in to get the recording.
I think one final thing is mentioning that our pricing, I believe at the moment, we're looking at far less than £2 per pupil. So it's very, very much reasonable, perhaps compared to other things that are out there, if I may say so. So that's another thing. If you're unaware of our pricing, you can check that out and see that. Hope it's very cost effective.
And yes, if you do subscribe, you can access all content. You won't just have year 6, for example. So if you have got pupils that need other things, you'll have all the year groups content. Okay, brilliant. All right, well, thanks so much for watching, and have a lovely evening. Thanks, Alex, as well.
Of course. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.